January 30th, 2019 Board of Health meeting. All members present. Just to let you know that we are being video and audio taped for the record. And I'm gonna go right to correspondence. We have the community nurse, hospice care. Just pretty routine. Need a motion.
Motion placed on file.
Second. All in favor?
Yep. Aye.
So voted. And I think we're gonna go right to septic systems. We're gonna actually go right to 231 Mattapoisett Road. I think everybody's present.
Yep.
Regarding
Yep.
231. You know, let Mr. Correa
Yep,
go
Mr.
through that with you.
Yep, Mr. Fredette has submitted a septic design plan for an upgrade at 231, and there was a couple of concerns that we had that we wanted to have him address. He responded in a letter to us, and, oh yeah, yep, and asked for an audience here. It's actually goes, that's one plan, right? It's been reviewed a few times here, and I'll try to get to a conclusion. So
You want me at the table?
you certainly can, or if you want to hang a plan up there and do something that way too, it's entirely up to you. I mean, it's pretty informal, yeah?
You've seen this.
I've seen it quite a few times.
Yes. I just said it here, I think we have to refer to it.
There was a couple of main topics that I guess we really probably start out discussing based on your letter, which was the way that the system, what the drain back of the system and the lower part of it, basically how that's designed, the equal distribution, and what's the last one here? About the monolithic tank with one of the pipes in the cross-section should be equally spaced, the burying of the force main 4 feet, will not allow drain back of the force main is required, freeze points will occur, pump chamber in transition, deep holes and drain back. And so you would address those 4 specific things, and which is against the recommendations of the board.
Right.
They see it one way and you see it another way. So
What's that?
I said they see it one way, you see it another way. So please, if you want to address that in more detail to them.
Okay, well, just for the record, my name's David Fredette. I'm the engineer of record on this project. The concern about the pipes and the cross-section, I believe I addressed. I believe that the design of the leaching field meets the regulations. And I know the recommendations was that I should set the spacing equal across the leaching field. For the most part, it is equal. There is an extra ½ foot on the outside of the 3 pipes that I consider to be a safety factor. The code doesn't specifically say that the pipes have to be equally spaced across the leaching field. There's a maximum and a minimum for the spacing between pipes, and a maximum and a minimum between the edge pipe and the edge of the field. With respect to burying the force main, with the redesign, using a monolithic tank, it gives me the opportunity to use the tank's volume at the bottom. Because it's so big, it allows me to use the tank at the bottom to lower the discharge pipe using a sleeve. That way we actually achieved 100% drain back. I still call for some insulation from the distribution box back about 60 feet, which is about the point where it gets below 3.5 feet or so. And I think it was the third.
Over the water table.
I believe we
Versus
addressed that, the water table as one with the tank.
What happened in regards, I mean, one of the questions was, would that being down 2 feet, we were closer to the water table there.
What is the estimated water table where the pump chamber is being placed?
Approximately 42 inches. And that's why I provided the buoyancy calcs. And because it's a monolithic tank, it's very heavy, so it's more than sufficient.
So, I just don't understand how we're supposed to approve a variance for the separation for the pipe out of the tank from the water table when it's avoidable. There's alternatives. You're literally
In what way?
You're taking a situation and you're putting it into the water table. Once that pipe leaks right at the tank, because that's an unconventional tank you're proposing. You're proposing to core a tank.
Are you talking about where the monolithic tank is? in
Yeah, the
discharge
pump
pipe?
chamber is the concern that I have, because the way it's laid out, I see eventually a leak, and you're just circulating, you're pumping groundwater into the leaching field.
Well, the manufacturer of the tank has already indicated to me that they do sleeves. Literally, they use like professionally available sleeve for doing that kind of watertight fitting. It's done all the time in the industry, so I don't see a reason why I can't do
They
it.
pour a precast rubber boot, they put a rubber boot in the case.
Right.
But that's usually at the conventional outlet pipe elevations, where the holes typically are, not down at
It's
the
the
bottom.
same, it's the same sleeve that's used on manholes for sewer work, water work, anything. They don't leak.
But why would we approve something where you're asking not only for a variance to be closer to the water table, you're asking for a variance to put it well below the water table?
Because I needed it to get the drain back.
But all you have to do is take the tank and push it further down the hill, where you'd be able to get, you could put the elevation, the proper elevation where the tank normally has the hole, and get a drain back.
Not without having additional fill required over the force main.
Not if you push it closer to the leaching field. To me, I don't, variances are usually granted for repairs on a regular basis. Some people call them gimmies when you get the water table separation from 4 feet to 3 feet.
Unless there's another
You're-
alternative.
If you're tight to the cellar wall and there's no room, we grant the variance, but to me, I don't know, it just seems to me, it seems clear to me that this is avoidable. The invert at the 4-inch pipe going to the D box is 93/19. So you need to go downhill from that. If you have the tank, the way you have it laid out, the more you push it down the hill, the lower the tank gets, but you're going with the grade. You could be closer to the grade, have the pipe come out the normal invert, and not have it submerged below the water table. I just don't understand how I'm supposed to approve a variance when it's avoidable. The other thing is you're saying it's unavoidable, but you're proposing to take a pipe that goes up the side of the cellar wall and now go under the footing.
No, it has to go under the footing.
Right, you're proposing existing conditions, so the pipe comes out the cellar, does it not?
Yes, to the side
Above
of the
the
house,
cellar
to the south
floor,
side.
how much above the cellar floor?
I'm gonna say a couple feet.
Okay, so you're now taking that pipe going out the cellar and you're pushing it below the cellar floor, below the footing. So the pipe coming out is how much deeper is it from existing conditions?
Even if I came out and connected to that pipe, it would still have to go in the ground to put the tank in the back.
True, but you could come out the side of the building.
Yeah,
Well, what's the reason for the pipe going under the foundation?
because the tank is in the backyard. If you haven't seen this site, you don't understand. There's a drop of about 5 feet from the grade to the surface where the tank is, and the tank is another 1.5 feet down. I mean, the inlet is another 1.5 feet down. If you look at the house and you stand next to the foundation, you have about 4 feet, no more than 5 feet of grade. And that grade is about, I'm gonna say 2 feet, no, 3 feet below the foundation top. Because there's an actual foundation window there. But where you're standing, at 4 feet away, there's about a 2.5 foot drop to new grade. And the
So they
tank,
came out and then just dropped it down like that?
no, it comes out and drops down, there's a wall there,
Oh,
about
yeah.
2.5 feet.
This help?
Yeah.
Yeah, show
Will this help? You can see
Put these things on.
Ah, there you go.
Us young guys need these
I have
glasses.
to take these off, or else I can't see squat. So you see this little cement wall that's here, that's about halfway up
Yeah.
the foundation. Then, this is the house. Oh, no, let me do this, this is a house. This is this wall that you're looking
It's
at,
clear as day.
okay? So this wall and the dirt against the house is about halfway up the foundation. So then it drops down, and you can see it dropping down through the rest of the yard.
Nice wall, better than mine.
Oh yeah, there's other pictures, maybe I can find something else that.
See, looking at this, it looks like it's just coming in flat and maybe a little slope coming up.
This is over here.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
go by
about-
numbers on
Yeah.
the plan that Mr. Fredette puts down.
If you look at the foundation, okay, that wall is like this, and then it just drops straight down from there.
Correct. It's the hollow.
Basically, the plan is all right, the septic system and all. It's just that this down in here is just, I just don't like the way that's set up.
I know, I mean,
Now,
there-
once you punch a hole in that tank, and you're lowering it down,
or you
now the
spray
fluid
the
that's going into your pump chamber is gonna be lower
make more sense to go
than
Yeah,
it originally was from the manufacturer. So you're gonna, how many feet down from the hole are you gonna drop that pipe down? The one that you're gonna bore a hole,
I think it was 15 inches.
15, so that's 15. So,
And frankly,
the only thing I
the
can see,
water table at 42 inches, that's based on redoxamorphic features. The real water table is down 14 feet in that general area because there's a sand aquifer down at 12 to 15 feet. We're in the sand aquifer where the leaching field is. So yeah, it's a restrictive layer from about 30 inches or so down,
250.
but it's a well-drained layer.
When was this perk test done? Put these guys together.
There wasn't a per,
It was a SIP.
I'd have
SIP
to,
analysis.
October.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, there's an
Jonathan,
alternative to
Jonathan, I'm
the, that's
confused.
the alternative. I mean, we'll issue a variance, when there's no alternative. But it seems as though you have it would make more sense to bring that chamber down toward the septic system.
You'd still have to have the variance because that monolithic tank is gonna have to be enough depth to be in the same situation there as it is where it is now.
Now, if you push the tank down the hill, if you push
They're
the
at a
tank
different
down the hill,
elevation.
you're pushing the tank kind of at, the issue, it looks to me like the stalemate here is that you show no grade change whatsoever until you get to the leaching field in the back. The problem is, the ground does this, and you don't wanna fill the hole.
Correct.
But that,
It's unfortunate that the leaching field is high and we have to get into it and we have to pump to it.
correct, but you have grades here of 94.5, 94. If that was literally just graded right out to the leaching field level, you're gonna have so much fill coming out of this hole from the septic system,
Well,
because you're digging 15 feet
see,
deep.
we're back to the same situation. My client doesn't want that. My client does not want that backyard getting filled. They want to keep it more or less the way it looks right now.
Okay, well,
It's bad enough that the leaching field has to be high and it's gonna be mounded, but at least it's in the far corner, kind of out of sight, out of mind.
but the finished grade of the leaching field is the same grade as 100 feet behind the house. I don't understand your point. You're talking about a hole in the middle. It dips.
It sort of goes down,
It
but
dips
the
a foot and a half.
it actually goes down continuously, but the leaching field is a mounded system.
Correct. And you're gonna have this grade at 94 over the leaching field, which feathers out to 93, and then you're right back to 93 when you work up your way 100 feet back to the house. It's illogical. I mean, a variance is usually given when there's no other alternative. That's typically.
The only reason we need the variance is because of that clause that states that the inlet outlet is supposed to be above the water table. That's the only reason. And frankly, I don't particularly care for that because, especially in this situation, there is no water table there. If that was a real water table, I would be concerned. But it isn't. And as far as the sleeve leaking, I'm talking about the type of sleeve where they core a hole, not just drill or chop a hole. They core a hole, they put a sealing device in that hole, and it's a permanent boot type situation with an adapter size,
So they
come down
put
to
a
the size.
neoprene seal around the hole.
Correct.
So it must have a collar on this end and a collar on this end.
Just like what you see in manholes that they put in for soil work. They have a cord hole, they put a boot in there, and actually the manufacturer usually does it, and the boot is mechanically pushed into the outside surface of the
And then your pipe goes in.
concrete.
Put through
And
a
then the
pressure
pipe
point.
just slides in, and they put a water hose clamp, stainless steel water hose clamp on it, and if that was not a well-sealed, permanent type of feature, they wouldn't be using them in the industry.
Now, how many bedrooms is this house gonna be?
3.
It's a 3-bedroom?
Yep.
Are you guys proposing to extend this house to 4-bedroom or anything?
I don't know, that would depend upon the cost of expanding the septic system.
What I'm bringing up the point is that if you do expand this thing, you're gonna have to expand the leach field, it's gonna cost you a lot more. Why
Mhm.
don't you guys just design it? If you're thinking about it, just a thought in the head.
Right now, it's just 3 bedrooms, that's it, we're gonna sell the house. My mother
You're gonna
passed
say
away in
3 bedrooms.
2010. You know,
What I'm referring to is, if you're having it for a 3-bedroom, right? And you do sell the home, and somebody decides they wanna add another room on, now you're gonna have to add the expense of going into this septic system and making it bigger, and it's gonna cost you twice the money.
We'd have to go up. There's no physical space for a 4th bedroom.
They can't add a bedroom anyway. They didn't get a perk test to pass. they had to do a SIP analysis, so that it's limited to 3 bedrooms. So you're telling me you're selling the place,
Yeah.
Right,
so you won't be
I
there?
thought
No.
that
no.
was not true. I was told that just because it was a SIB analysis, didn't preclude it being able to be expanded to a 4-bedroom.
You cannot expand unless you have two, new construction requires 2 perk
Well,
sets.
that would be an upgrade, not new construction.
Any expansion beyond an existing number of bedrooms is classified as new construction. It triggers new construction. Then you have to be in full compliance.
If you designed that, it's a 3-bedroom system. The house is existing, it's a 3-bedroom existing system.
I was
You
told-
can't upgrade it to a 4-bedroom unless you do a purpose.
I was told that that
And
was not
it's
precluded.
perk.
In fact, you guys had me change the,
Somebody bought the
you
house
had
and
me
want that.
change
I don't
the,
know, foundation.
the variance request.
I can't worry about that.
No, it's not our worry. We're just selling it as a
No,
3-bedroom
it's not getting
house.
sold as a 3-bedroom. If somebody bought the house and they wanted to add on, then that's,
They'd have to
That's
deal
up
with
to
you
them.
guys
So
at
they would
another
drop it to
time.
3 feet for the full.
we're selling the house as a 3-bedroom. We're not
No.
gonna add anything on.
that's not what you had me change. You had me change something on the variance request because the SIB analysis does not preclude.
Oh, no,
restriction.
you put on there that a deed restriction is required.
Right,
It's not. Not for a SIP analysis.
so that was the only thing that it applied to, was a deed restriction?
That's correct. The note stated that a deed restriction shall be recorded. It's not required by the code. And we're certainly gonna.
Well, what's the deed restriction?
There is no deed restriction
No, what-
required.
What was the deed restriction before?
You had something in there that a deed, actually, the note's still in the plan, you crossed it.
I had to cross it out, yeah.
You said approval of this variance will subject the deed for this property to a restriction limiting the allowed flow for the dwelling to the existing flow of 330 gallons per day.
Yeah, and you guys had me change that, that's no longer applicable. That deed restriction is no longer applicable, so,
A deed restriction is not required. That's different than saying you can increase the size of the system.
okay? I
Because
had,
if you go back, let's just say theoretically, okay? I'll follow you through on this. Let's just say theoretically, you put in this system and you put it 4 feet above the water table. In order to get a 4th bedroom, you'd have to go back, do 2 things. Obviously expand the length, but you'd have to do 2 perks adjacent to that field where you're going to expand and show us that you could do. You get 2 passing perks, then you could expand it.
see, that's not the way that it was explained to me.
Well, I think that you need to stick to the 3 bedrooms.
We're gonna
Yeah,
stick,
they
we're
stick into the
sticking to the
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom.
Stick into the
It's
3-bedroom.
not
Yeah,
designed for
100%, there
We're
was
talking
no
about 4
room other than
bedrooms.
building
No,
up.
that's
No,
a,
we're not,
It's
we're
not
selling the
people-
house, it
selling
has
the
3
house.
bedrooms now, we're
Right.
selling the house. If somebody buys a house and they wanna expand the house, then that's up, expand,
Then
put an
they can come
addition
back
on or
to
something,
guys.
that's up to them.
Put a new system in.
Which goes back to the variance. The 3-2
Correct.
variance.
This concerns me even more so hearing that you're selling the place. My concern is that that tank is going to leak because we'd be literally giving a variance when there are other alternatives, okay? Taking the pipe out of the normal exit point of the tank and putting it a couple of feet lower to get the drain back. There's no logic to it, to allow a variance, then somebody else is gonna buy the house, and when it starts leaking in the wet season, a year from now, 2 years from now, guess what? They're gonna come back to us and say, well, I had an inspector look at it, and he said he's never seen anything like that before. A pipe coming out of the septic tank, I mean, the pump chamber, 2 feet off the bottom. Nobody does that. It's just not logical to me to do that and allow it unless it was an extreme condition where it couldn't be done. And I don't, and furthermore, when people buy, in your neighborhood, across the street, there are homes that have septics that are this high,
We live across the street.
okay?
Right.
You're not gonna have anything like that. What you're asking is, we just don't wanna put any fill in the backyard because that's how we wanna
We
sell
didn't
it.
want a
That
big
doesn't-
berm, a
that-
big berm sticking up, so, you know, I mean.
You're not gonna have a
It's
berm.
gonna be,
Okay.
it's gonna be.
You're
You're gonna start
taking,
at the wall, you're gonna start at the wall, you mean where the,
the grade at the wall is 96.2. The finished grade of a leaching field is 2 feet down, hill.
yeah,
So you're not anywhere near the situation across the street or down the street or whatever, all those homes that had no choice. but to put those massive mounds.
Are you saying that what we need to do is fill 2 feet from the wall backwards?
So that'll
You
make
have a
big
hollow
all
in
the
the
way
ground.
up
To
all
how
the way
many
across
feet?
the bottom of that.
From
Picture-
here to where?
Picture the backyard
Yes,
from where, say you walked in the back of the house and dropped off down in that wall.
yes, I know.
And walked about 10 feet.
Mhm.
From that point all the way back to where the septic system is gonna go, the leaching field, that would all get filled and regraded.
No, it wouldn't be that extreme. You're overstating, you're
How many
overstating.
feet back would you have, would you need
If
from
you
the
held the
house?
tank, if you held the tank at the
Well, you still have
elevation,
to have cover for the gravity pipe too.
How much fill's coming out of the system?
you do,
Quite a bit.
but
So what are you doing with that?
you have a lot of room to play here because you have the existing septic tank a
If-
foot and a half below
If
grade.
the client wants to provide fill, and there is fill available, like you say, from the septic system, if that was the case, I could redesign it and have a new design based on filling, but I almost guarantee that that monolithic tank is still gonna be low enough that that variance is still gonna be required, even after you put it closer to the leaching field, because let's face it, the water table by redoxamorphic features is very shallow. No matter what you do, it's very shallow. We're gonna be within 12 inches according to the sanitary code, and we're gonna require that variance.
What are you gonna do with all the fill, Dave?
Well,
You've got quite a bit coming out of that hole.
I know,
That's a good
and
sized hole. What are you gonna do with it? Haul it
typically
out?
it gets shipped off.
But they don't wanna touch the backyard, they wanna leave it the way it is.
If you don't approve this tonight, I'd have to talk to them about doing a different design.
Well, that's what was
Huh?
requested.
Yeah,
Oh, it's okay. We'll talk to Dave about it.
Okay?
The code is working, but there's room to make things work. It's just, there's no need for some variance, I don't see it.
It's gonna work.
See, if you took December 93-19,
If you just lifted it up to
You
the
can-
normal height, you'd be fine.
you came back 70 feet. That'd be about,
in.
this coming out would be 92.5, right?
Yeah,
So that'd be 92.7.
yeah.
And you gotta work your way back up. So 70 feet puts you there.
That-
Another 100 feet,
From here down to there,
93.7.
about the same elevations.
This would probably have to be a foot
What are you gonna do
higher.
with all the fill?
If you
Truck it all
reverse
out?
this tank, if you reversed it.
Is they got enough fill coming out of that system to backfill and
It's just
to
a
raise
gully.
that off?
It's a foot and a half gully, is the problem.
There's a lot of fill coming out of there.
You
Yes.
get the 3-foot variance for that, they're only going for 3 bedrooms, you get the 3-foot variance for that, it eliminates that gully, because now you just drop the D-box down a foot.
No, it might cause more problems.
Okay.
When you lower that, then that's gotta be lower.
Why? If this comes down, then you could actually slide it up.
Here's the thing, see the 96 right here?
It's still around.
Okay. 96 is over here.
This one.
Pull the 96 out. That becomes 95.3.
Yep, and then coming
That
out right
becomes,
at the
that becomes
bottom.
95.
Just,
You
they
go
could
100
bring
feet down the
gravity
hill,
flow.
you're
If
at
this tank
94.
was up
And
above
you're
higher,
93.7.
But if they bring that
Go
tank
up.
down that way,
if that tank was brought higher,
Yeah,
that
you
would
can
grab
make
the
this
flow
work,
all
because
in,
that
you
comes
would
from
eliminate the
92.5.
pump chamber, electrical
92.7.
work.
93.7.
Yeah, I don't know why, money in
if
that.
they raise this up,
Instead of going under the foundation, they could raise that up.
I can
Take
see
some of
what
that
I'm
fill and
doing.
fill that
And then
section,
you can come
and
out right
gravity
at the
flow all the
floor.
way back.
That's
why
what
can't they
come out the
gravity
wall.
flow this
Well, it
whole
would come out.
system?
They
They
could,
save a
Why
lot of
can't they
money.
gravity flow if they backfill right to that?
they could.
They got enough,
They
they got
could,
enough fill
but they don't wanna,
coming,
they
they got
don't
enough
wanna
fill
come
coming
up
out of
above
here
on the
probably
foundation.
to backfill.
You come up from underneath the foundation, raise it
Yeah,
up.
they're asking for a variance that we have other alternatives.
Okay, look at this, guys, okay. The bottom of the
I
field
don't wanna
is,
spend too much time on this.
I get to put my glasses on,
We
David.
have another
follow me
meeting.
now. Bottom of the field is at 90, it's 4 feet above water table. If you make it 3 feet, the bottom of the field is now 93.1. The inverse, 90.
Yeah, you better.
Alright,
That backyard is a beautiful, big backyard, and will it change what it looks like,
this
to
could
change the
be, because
elevation on
four,
part of it?
this could come down to
We're trying to
92.
make it easier, cheaper,
92.02.
and
They're trying to save your people money.
That's
So
what
from
the
Well, we
here-
just wanna have a good system that works for
To
the
go
people that
gravity all the
buy
way back
this
to here,
house.
you'd be about 94 right here.
So that's what, 2 feet?
This would be
Some
about
variances
95
there.
and change, and
And
this
then
would be
under the
96,
groundwater,
you got
they
96.
technically-
You
You
need
could
2
literally
feet
do,
of fill.
with a 1
Because
foot
you can do it
groundwater
differently.
variance, you
So
could grade this whole
That's
thing.
up to them,
and do
they're
gravity.
the approving
And
authority.
not cost, this is like a huge cost here.
Yes.
Sure, you gotta
You
cut
got a
out
pump chamber, you
electricians,
have,
you gotta get the electricians there, you gotta
We
get the
go with
plumbers
the
there.
gravity and fill it.
Then they're gonna bore a hole, that's gonna drop it down more, and once they pump that tank, even if it's a heavy tank, how much fluid are you gonna have in the bottom of the tank? This much?
just,
And then I would, even if he's using that H20 tank he's gonna use, I would say he would still have to put ballast in it on the outsides to hold it down, just in case.
Yes.
But there's no ballast shown on here. That's another added expense. I don't know.
I would say you need to design a gravity flow system. They don't just come back with it. 'cause
I'm
we're
not the
gonna test on this
engineer.
one.
I'm just a board of health
I
person.
don't think
yeah.
you,
It's just no justification
I see so
for the
many-
waiver, it's a variance from the
I've
code.
been here for 36 years and, you
Yeah,
know,
but
once in a great
this
while you
is
run into
the
that. But
cost of all of
usually
that.
they work with us and listen to what we have to say. But he's your engineer, so.
Well, where the tank is now, we definitely, it can't be there, because
Right.
the people
Yep.
might wanna
They'll move it,
expand
sure.
and put on a garage, and they wouldn't be able
But the
to do
lady
that
just
where
says
it
they're
is
not
now.
gonna go expand, they only can go up.
No, they can expand and put on a garage.
I'm sure there's plenty of room in there.
There's plenty of room for a garage, a breezeway, they're not gonna expand and put a bedroom on the side. Well,
But
they
you
would
never
be
know.
Coming out of the
limited
back, we get that,
if
yeah.
the tank was where it is, that's why it needs to go in the back.
Yeah.
We don't wanna look at, nobody's gonna wanna look at a big mound right in the middle of your yard
No
for.
way,
But
there's too
elevated
many
system.
alternatives to have a big mound there. Too many,
Yeah.
that's
It could be
where
You've
great.
been in
you're
that
at.
backyard. My daughter Kelly was in your daughter's class. We had a horseback ride birthday party, years ago, Sadie.
yeah.
Yeah. You,
I can't
I don't, you
remember
probably don't
looking at the
remember,
backyard.
you probably don't remember, it's a long time ago,
Yeah.
but, you know,
I
there is a
remember.
drop
Okay.
there, there's a wall there, there used to be like the swing sets there,
I can't
if you might remember, and then there's a pine grove further
I
out.
thought it was.
Yeah.
If they did a gravity flow here, they could save a bunch of money. You people, it's coming out of your pocket, right? Out of their state.
it's
or
coming
whatever.
out of
It's coming
sale.
out of the sale of the
Sale of
house.
the
Yeah.
property. But they could save a
The
fortune.
less,
15
the
by
less
30.
you dish out,
So they were
the more you're gonna make.
25 by 40.
and it's gonna be a better system.
I would just say that he has to design a gravity flow
And if
system.
they do ever wanna
Can't
put a
we do that?
bathroom in downstairs, let them put up a
Do
pump
gravity,
chamber.
you're gonna
and-
be about that
Right in the
high.
cellar and pump it right into the main line.
It'd be about a foot.
That'd be about a foot of fill in the back,
It's
over
500
where the
yards
system
coming out.
is, so
How
you're
much?
talking about that
500
That's a lot of
Gravity.
yards. What the hell, they're
Then
going
if you
down
go with
12.5
lighter
feet.
tanks,
But
you
you're
wouldn't have
only
to buy
gonna
two
have
tanks.
about a foot.
You wouldn't have to
Fill.
buy
That's right in the belly, right under
Where
the
the
a little bit of
belly,
fill, but it wouldn't
so
be that crazy mound
if
like
you
that.
said you had an
You'd have a
average of
whole
foot
lot
and a half
in
fill
the back.
over
That you dig out, there's gonna be tons of it.
and you took
Little be
500.
grading, little digging out below, put it back over.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna
I have a
divide
hill
You
at
could
my
fill that
house,
2 feet
but
deep.
it's at street level, so.
David.
Let's
you
say
could fill that
Because
over
we have to have a big
150
septic
feet.
system too, because the land
It's,
there is
it's tough,
hard.
yeah, it's tough.
Let's say you did, say you did 60 feet across times 200 times an average of 1.5.
Actually,
It's almost
Really?
Well, my sister-in-law
Yeah,
lives
do a
behind that
50-foot
house, and
swath.
her septic is
200 feet
behind that
times
wall.
one.
And
That's
they
not
won't
what you
have
need.
So and
either.
that's where the
not what you
better
need.
better
It's-
material.
And they're
is
not gonna,
Exaggerated.
and they're not gonna
Do
have to
the
truck it all out.
test.
yeah,
It'll be
we're
there.
really trying.
Right, why
At the end
spend
of
the
the
money
day,
to do that?
there's conflict, but it's really for your
This
better.
is ridiculous.
We're trying to
As
make
a
it better.
board, you,
A better situation.
Somebody make a motion
So
that you
understand, it's
design
not
gravity fix
adversarial.
We're just trying to, yeah, we want
He's
to-
got he's got in his mind that he wants to go to pump chambers and the whole works.
it's not right, it's not right for these people, where they can save a fortune.
I'll make a motion to deny the plan.
Yeah, can you wait till they come back in,
Want me to
please?
get 'em?
What do you wanna do, Mr. Chairman?
I would rather let them come
Let
back.
them
yes,
come
no
back.
problem,
Yeah,
But
please.
you can make the motion, I'll say the motion's on the table right now.
If you wanna go on with some other business that we've got, David, go.
Next thing,
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah,
Thank you.
recess.
Well, I was gonna go right over to the other plans and try to
Well, I reviewed
entertain a
them.
motion, so did I, so I wanna entertain a motion that, before we do that, that number 3 Kimberly Way, we already approved that,
Yep,
okay? So just keep that in mind, but the other 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6,
5, so I'll make,
Wanna do one at a time?
No, just do them all.
Can
We'll
you
all-
read them off? Read them off the
Motion,
address?
make a motion to approve, septic repair plan with variances for 200 Peckham Road. We have a revised plan on that?
Yes.
second
And
motion on
revise
that.
what you asked.
Oh, let them do all,
We could
do them all, and then we can.
5 Kimberly Way,
Same way.
without variances. We'll just make it all, sweep it all in there.
Yeah.
Quaker Lane, new construction, 14 Budano Drive with variances, and 250, no, that's different, right? 254 Mattapoisett Road
Yeah, that's different.
is there a revised plan for that one?
Yeah, it was revised and the comments were submitted, me and you talked about that.
Did he
Yeah.
lower it to the water table? No?
No, I
Oh, it's all
talked
the
to him.
same?
Yeah, everything's the same, you didn't wanna touch it.
So the motion's to include 254 Mattapoisett Road. So essentially items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Motion to accept plans is read.
All-
Motion to accept the variances is read.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted.
You got all that jumbo, right?
So
2,
that covers
4,
the
5,
variance,
and 6.
variances, and it covers the plans.
Okay.
So 2 through 6. Number 1 is still on the table. I'll give them the opportunity to come back. Why don't we just move
Almost
on?
there.
This is to give the board members more raises.
I was
Is this
gonna say,
to
if
give
you
us a
want-
raise? The board's getting a raise? Did you put that on the agenda for tonight?
Yeah, it's over here. Getting a raise
You wanna do the minutes, Tom?
Yes.
Might as well. Motion to accept minutes as read.
For what dates? Make sure that we got people that were here.
October 2nd, October 30th.
Were we all on
November
everyone?
27th.
Yep.
Everybody was there,
We're
Tom
all
was
here.
asking the 27th.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted? Alright, that's about that.
And we got some vacation time coming for some people.
Well,
I make a motion that, who's this guy, Joe Correa? Joseph Correa? No vacation for him.
Okay,
do
but
that.
no,
Motion to approve vacation time, February 14, 15, 19, 20, and 21 for Joe.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
So voted.
Joe almost looked at me and cried.
no, not that, not
It's
that.
going anyway.
396 Middle Road follow-up?
Yeah, so, I mean, the last time it was here, you had given him 30 days. We had originally tried to contact the homeowner there that had purchased 396. It went, he didn't respond to an enforcement order that I issued to him. Then it went to town council. Town council issued a letter to him. He responded to that.
Okay.
All right, in that turn, I told you about that the last time. You said, well, we'll give him 30 days to do something. He did not. I sent him another letter stating that you had 30 days to do something. He didn't do anything. That would have been December 30th. And in the meantime, I contacted town council again because he hadn't responded. And they sent another letter out, giving him until yesterday to respond or do something
Is
to
that
us.
his final letter?
And now it's basically, we already went to the point where we're ready to file a complaint in court, but we rolled back, and he hasn't done anything, so
Well,
So
we
it's-
we have enough paperwork on him already anyhow.
we have to follow through. It's a house that was purchased, the septic system was never installed, the system's in failure, there was a new system designed, but it was never installed, the house changed hands, and like I said, he did speak to me at one point, but he's
And then he disappeared.
MIA for
Right.
3 months.
So how could the house change hands? Was it through family or?
Some-
Usually banks look into that right away.
Could have been a cash deal.
The finance, I don't know how it is, but the
Yeah.
financing was different,
Okay.
so it wasn't necessarily through a conventional bank.
Motion to have Joe proceed with town council to seek the remedy to the court.
Yes, second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted. Pumping records are okay?
Yep.
All right, motion to keep that on file.
Motion to keep pumping records on file.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted. The noise regulation review, I'm still reviewing that, so I'd like a motion, entertain a motion to, put that on the next agenda.
Motion, so be it. For you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted. 19 Dowling Street,
Yeah, so, a review of our files showed that in 2010, this particular property had was looking to convert a commercial use to a residential use. It was a dance studio. It's a separate structure on the property, and basically turn it into an accessory apartment. There was a process that they went through. They did a new septic system, which proved that the existing pit there had failed. They designed it, they went to the Board of Appeals to get the change of use and to get the accessory apartment. The Board of Appeals granted them 456 square feet for an accessory apartment, and then nothing happened. In an investigation looking into it, it was determined by me that somebody had been living there, so it was converted to an apartment, that they were renting it, and my best estimate is back to 2013. So I put this information in an enforcement order for them to do something, really quick, because they're in violation of
Where's
the
there a
same.
restroom?
They're in violation of the sanitary code or the housing code. They're also in violation of the environmental code, Title V. At that point, they answered my letters. They've been in here to talk about it. We've had discussions with Dan Menard, the Superintendent of Public Works. There's a strong push for him right now, which is going to be for you guys, that sewer is available. It's a little bit of work to get it there, but certainly not horrible at all. And so we're pushing for him to get the engineer to get sewer brought up there. So we're working right now, again, they're interacting with me about trying to figure out exactly how
Well,
to.
they're not gonna be able to put sewer up there this winter anyhow, unless it stays nice. But I
Well,
don't think it's gonna stay nice for long.
That's fine. I mean, I think realistically, the way that we have to look at this is they gotta hire an engineer, do septic system work, or there's also another house there that we know that needs a septic system also currently. This house, actually, there's a house on this particular property along with this accessory apartment, which is a septic structure. Both of those technically need septic, both of them. So again, with Dan has gone out of his way to try to make this actually easy. You can run it, it's all gravity. You can run it up the property line, he said, run it up the sidewalk area. So it limits the amount of paving that you'd have to do. So with that in mind, they're working on hiring an engineer. They're working on trying to figure that out, and I will stay in touch with you. I've also had them go over to Jim.
Yep.
Merritt, the building
Who's gonna pick up
commissioner.
the tab for running that up the sidewalk? The
That would
people?
be him. It's either gonna be him, them, because either they're gonna have to replace their septic system, and that means that a new plan has to be designed, submitted, and ultimately installed. And like I said, realistically, although we can't pursue his house because the violation isn't against the house, it's the separate structure. Realistically, that I've already looked into that. That is a very old septic system. and
How
I'm sure
far up
that's
the
failed.
road is that on Dowling Street? Is
I
that up the
haven't-
middle road?
It's close. It's right across the street from Conduit.
So that's up the hill then?
Yeah, definitely. Up there. We have one about halfway down the hill. that
Most of
also has to
those
do-
homes in there are small lots.
Yep.
Septic system's been in there for at least 40, 50 years.
Aware of
if
all of it.
not more.
What's this
Why
plan
don't
dated to 2010? Was this plan for the main house, or was
No.
it was for the
The
dance
accessory
studio?
apartment. Yep.
So there's a plan on record that was approved
Yep.
by us.
Yep.
They just never instituted.
No, they didn't. They were actually applying at the time for an accessory apartment. They didn't do anything after that, which led them to basically not pulling a building permit, not pulling an electrical permit, not pulling a plumbing permit, converting the inside dance studio into an apartment, not complying the septic system, and they've been in violation for quite a while.
How do they stand with the building department?
They have, that was my next statement, they're in violation with us because it's a housing code issue, because I know it's an illegal apartment. And I sent them over to Jim already, and they're gonna have to work on that. They're gonna have to open up walls, do whatever, get an electrician, get a carpenter, get a plumber in there to do what they have to do to satisfy the permit. And they unfortunately had gone through all of this, and then they stopped. And I think it had a lot to do with the size.
How about the town? If the town ran a sewer line right down that road, right into Middle Road where the sewer is, and everybody paid their share of putting it in instead of running it down the sidewalk, and then everybody can utilize it, and everybody would have to put in their share. It's still cheaper than hiring a contractor if the town's gonna do it. There's no prevailing wages, there's nothing out there that you have to pay.
That would have to be a whole other topic that we'd have to bring up with the selectmen and see if it's possible. As we see it right now.
And the town would, I mean,
They're gonna try to remedy
the
this
money that,
situation now.
yeah, but the money that they're gonna spend, it'll pay for the town, because the town's gonna make revenue out of the
They're gonna
sewage.
remedy that situation now, not.
So basically, we're giving him the ability to run the sewer up the road to fix a problem, the serious violation
So
that he has.
basically, if they're running up the road, anybody can tie into it after
Yep.
that.
But there's another house halfway down that has a failed septic system that has to tie into. So he's actually got an opportunity to split the cost.
But the
Either
guys
that or-
across the street from him are not gonna be able to tie in either.
Anybody.
If they're
can
running
do
on the
that.
sidewalk, they're gonna go across and tie in.
They're not gonna, Dan said that he would give wise to everybody. He'll give wise to the main line that runs up, so that people would be able to tie in the future, but this is to remedy this violation.
Yeah, that's.
Has this letter went out on January 11th? Has he complied with the conditions of what was said?
At this point, yeah.
Well, he has contacted the building?
He's been here, he's been to the building department, he's discussed it. Basically, the building department said, well, you've gotta deal with the Board of Health right at the moment. So work on that, because ultimately that's gonna lead right into everything else that needs to be done. Because again, I haven't pressed
Gives
the
them a lot
sanitary
of
side,
violations.
the housing code side. I'm pressing the septic right now.
Okay, but he's responded, so.
Yes, he's absolutely been in the office, he's called me.
Joe continued.
Motion, okay, motion to keep this on the agenda and have Joe give us an update on the progress of the next meeting.
Second. All in favor? So voted. All right, let me go back to, what is that, 231 Mattapoisett Road. There was a motion that came up, but you people discussed.
Well, we had substantial discussion. The client is convinced that if we can do a fill, we might be able to offset the cost of the pump and do what Mr. Maderas had suggested in the beginning. So I'm gonna withdraw the plans, and we're gonna look at doing just a gravity system.
Okay.
That'd be
You can
smart.
do the groundwater waiver too.
And if we have to, we can use the groundwater waiver.
Okay, I think that would be the best for you people.
Well,
And it's
just
gonna-
understand that when we first started this, I was trying to build or design a cost-effective system for what we had there. But I think the client's convinced now that if you're not gonna approve that, then we have an alternative here that could mess,
I think
it would mess the yard up a
alternative is
lot.
less expensive.
What's that?
The alternative is less expensive, so.
The groundwater variance will help the gravity system.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we will grant that.
Yeah.
On a repair, we do grant that,
Yep.
those waivers.
Yeah, we'll
particularly-
probably seek that one.
Particularly when you have a system that's out of the ground.
Okay,
That is a variance that we are comfortable with.
okay, I appreciate that.
So when we come back the next time, this gravity system. is
Shouldn't
it-
have to come
You won't
back.
have to
No,
come
no,
back.
because
He
you'll get the
submits-
plans and
Yeah.
you'll look over the plans and then
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they review the plans, if there's no issues, then it's,
stamp them.
the other plans are already approved.
Yep.
We go through
Yeah,
the
the-
formality of voting, unless
Right.
there's some sort of, if you have a sale,
Mhm.
we'll try and do something quicker than the meeting.
Right. We
Otherwise,
can
it'll just-
speed that up.
Okay. All right, well, we appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
So motion to accept the withdrawal of the plan.
All right,
Second.
all in favor?
Yep.
So,
Aye.
What is,
Do you want those?
thank you, thank you.
Good night.
all right,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
gentlemen.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Get home too.
Where's,
Do you want to, I'm asking, do you want to keep those?
I mean, I'm you probably end up throwing all of them except one out, so if you need them back,
I don't, but
yeah, no, it's fine. We'll take care of
All right.
it. We always keep,
Hey, that could keep your feet warm for about a half an hour.
well, I could burn the paper and have at least a day of meat.
I can get it back to you, Dave, if you want. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll get it back to you if you want.
All right.
I think that's the best way, that, I'm happy that they went that way, Dave and Tom.
Oh, somebody forgot their jacket.
Oh,
I think David
is
forgot
that
it.
your jacket?
No.
Oh, let me, I'll go get it.
They'll know when they walk outside.
He's gonna say, boy, I need that paper now.
It's cool.
All right, we're at the proposed budget. And everybody's reviewed this and we're all on the same page as far as,
There's one there for you to sign, and then
This
there's
one?
copies of it.
We should have it raised.
I'll make a motion to sign the budget for presentation to the finance committee.
motions on the floor
Oh,
to accept the budget as specified.
We accepted the budget.
okay. Oh, okay.
Dave made
Yeah, I
a
made a
motion.
motion to accept the budget, accept and sign it.
Yes,
I guess.
all in favor? Come on, I'm gonna
I
sign it.
guess,
All right,
guess.
so vote.
Go, go, go.
Oh, we got
Sign
sign
here.
too, right?
So that increase in Joe's salary is due to the fact that the building commissioner has already received that increase, and the conservation commission has already received the increase due through the report, which
Wages and classification.
the classification
Is the-
of the study of salaries. So that brings everybody up to where they should be.
I'm just,
So that's the only increase, actually, if you think about it.
I thought it was,
It shows the decrease in one of the clerical, one of the clerks, because we've gone to half a day clerk, and the other half would be in conservation, so it's reduced the budget
I
by.
thought you were just a health agent for us.
Why, what else am I?
Sanitarian?
That's the line item. I'm just that.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
All right.
And the rest is all contractual, correct?
Yep.
I don't know.
Have you got the
How
one
it's
for the
gonna be
soil board
presented.
too? This one here?
Bring that, they must have a copy of that.
This is good.
Yep, they do, and then talking with the town accountant, all the departments have essentially made the same request. The expectation would be that the finance committee will make a statement about the fact that the selectmen have to truly accept that.
Well, it's irrelevant now because they've already given
Which is
the
part of the
building
other.
commissioner and the conservation agent the raise.
So the expectation is that
As far
they'll
as I'm
make,
concerned,
Yep.
that is what we're gonna follow. And I would suggest that that's what the finance committee should follow also.
which is, I think that they want that, but there's some selectmen there. I think the selectmen have to accept that at some point in time, or.
So if they don't accept that, they're gonna reduce that salary? I don't think that's how,
Well, that's just the information I have.
I don't know if it's gonna work like that.
Yep, and that's definitely the interesting part. So there's no issues there. All the departments across the board have made the same requests in regards to meeting what's on there.
Okay.
So they're just taking it under advisement right at the moment.
I think one.
Try to work through that. Yeah, no, I was gonna I don't need this here.
Yes, we have copies of,
Oh, you
so
want,
I can have a copy when we're there.
oh, okay, yeah.
We can all have a copy. They have my copy.
I don't mind that one.
I have.
Is that your copy?
Yeah.
No,
Wait, where'd you get
I
it?
gave it to you.
No, you didn't. It's sitting here. You gave it to Joanne.
So that's all.
You gave it to Joe.
So actually, we're all set. Motion for, I don't know, when did you want to,
Next meeting?
next
The next
meeting?
meeting is really, has already tentatively been set for the 21st, I believe.
21st of February.
I think it was the one after.
Okay, the 26th. It's the 26th.
26, yeah. That's what I thought.
26th,
Yes, I'm sorry.
that's the next meeting, and that should be it. Should we get a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Supposed to
No,
say that.
I said just one. You said motion.
Yeah.
He said motion. You need to second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted.